Need a tax write-off and looking to buy a vehicle for your business? Stay tuned. I'm covering the ins and outs and whether it's a good move for you. Hi, if you're new to my channel, thanks for watching. I'm Julie Merrill. I'm a CPA and I thrive on helping individuals and business owners grow their wealth and save taxes along the way. In this video, I'm talking about the ins and outs of buying a vehicle in your business. Is that tax deduction going to be as great as you hope it will be? And is it a great move for you and your business? Anytime we're talking about a tax deduction, a tax write-off, the IRS code gives a very simple guideline. Is it ordinary and necessary to your business? And if so, if we can support that, then we can write it off. Now there's different write-off strategies and deductions and depreciation methods. I'm not getting into that in this video. I am going to cover though the steps and questions you should consider if you're looking at buying a vehicle in your business for a tax write-off. I have 3 questions before we get into the details that will kind of pivot on your path on how you purchase the vehicle if you're purchasing a vehicle to use in your business. The first one is, do you use a vehicle in your business for at least 50% of the mileage used? Meaning, if you were to log your mileage for the vehicle for a year, and this is something that we will talk about even more in this video, how important it is to keep a mileage log. Can you support that over 50% of those miles are business miles? Now remember, commuting miles don't count. So if you're just going from your home to your office, that is not business use. We're talking driving to clients, running errands for your business. You know, someone like a realtor, I mean, it's a no-brainer. They drive all over the place. They're going to have that business use. If you work from home and you're a social media influencer, do you really drive that much for your business? It's going to be much more difficult to support. And really 50% is the cutoff. And once we're over that hump, we kind of move on to the next steps. Does it mean you can't write off any vehicle expenses? No, we're going to get into that in a minute. But if you're buying it for your business, we want at least 50% business use. Question number 2 is, do your profits support it? If you are making $20,000 in your business, are you going out and trying to buy an $80,000 vehicle? Does that make sense? No, and it's probably not going to qualify as that necessary component for the IRS. So do your profits support it? If you're making $200,000 and you're buying a $50,000 car, different decision. Question number 3, do you have the cash to buy it? Or are you going to finance it? This could complicate things, and we're going to cover the pros and cons of owning it in your business in a minute, and financing definitely comes into play. If your business does not have the cash to buy a vehicle, is it still a smart move? If you answered no to any of those 3 questions, it doesn't mean you can't get a write-off for a vehicle. It just might choose the path or make the path different on how you get that write-off. Whether you own a vehicle personally and get reimbursed or write off those vehicle use of your personal vehicle, or whether your business purchases the vehicle and then you get the deduction that way. First, let's talk about personally owned vehicles. You can own a vehicle personally titled, and remember this is titled to you as an individual that you use in your business, and still get reimbursed for mileage or the actual costs that you incur for that vehicle. 2 different methods. We're not going into those details, but just covering the actual fact that you can get some tax benefits even if you own the vehicle personally. Personally, it's a great idea. If you're under that 50% threshold for mileage, this is your option, and this is kind of where you should go. Again, there's still tax benefits. They might not be as great, but you do get some write-offs. Like in any deduction, we want documentation. Documentation's your friend. And again, I keep talking about mileage in this video, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it some more, but what you need to keep a mileage log. If you're writing off a deduction for vehicle use in your business, whether you have a physical log that you keep or you use an app, one of my personal favorites is MileIQ. It's like $5 a month, and it even remembers what locations you have stored and what routes are common. So many times I would just sit in the parking lot waiting for my kid for pickup, and I'd swipe left for business, swipe right for personal, and get caught up for the month. Again, documentation's your friend. Mileage is going to drive a lot of these decisions. So use some kind of tool to keep that documentation and make it easy on yourself. So the big con with buying a vehicle for you personally is that you don't get to depreciate it in your business. There's significant tax benefits for depreciating a vehicle in your business and rules that go along with that. And those rules may be even changing with the tax code on how much you can write off in what period as the tax code evolves with the new election. and some tax code that's in place right now expiring next year. So that's kind of up in the air as exactly how that works and how that's going to play out over the next year, 5 years, 3 years. But there is the depreciation. It's a huge tax benefit, but you can only depreciate an asset that's titled to the business. The business can't depreciate an asset that someone else owns. So again, personally owned vehicles, no depreciation. The pro of owning the vehicle by yourself and having personal title to it is there's no difference in the buying process. You can go and buy a car, lease a car, it's in your name, and you're subject to the financing. The logistics of it is the same in any other situation. Buying a car personally is also a great idea if your business doesn't have the profits or the cash to support that purchase in the vehicle, in the business name. All right, let's talk business. Now, business ownership of a vehicle and writing it off. That's why you're here. So let's go into the details and some pros and cons and hiccups that you might not be aware of that might greatly affect your decision on whether you should buy that vehicle in your business. The big pro, the big benefit we're all looking for is depreciation. If the business owns a vehicle, if it's titled to the business or the business has the lease, you don't get to depreciate a lease, but you get to write off some of the lease payments. If you own and purchase the vehicle in the business name, you get to depreciate it. And big tax savings, big benefits. You can accelerate it. You can leave it just over the life of the vehicle. You have a couple different options, but some fantastic write-offs. But can you do it? First step is buying the vehicle in the business name. So it has to be titled to the business. When you go to the dealership, it's titled to your business, to your LLC, to your corp. It is not titled to you and your spouse. It's titled to the business. So let's talk about 3 cons. Depreciation is definitely the biggest. You can still get reimbursed for mileage or costs, whether you own it or the business. But the business depreciation is the big one. This is the big whammy. That's what everybody's looking for the write-off. So what are the cons and things that might stop you in your tracks? The first is financing complexities. So if you do not have the cash in your business to go and buy that, will the dealership issue you a loan to you or your business? So if your business hasn't been around a while, you might not have the credit rating to get a business loan for that vehicle. Some dealerships just won't do it. They won't issue the vehicle title to the business and then have the loan to the individual. It complicates things. Now, if your business has been around a while, you might be able to finance that loan. You might have a higher rate. Financing complexity is a little bit different, again, if you're buying the vehicle for the business, so something to keep in mind. The third con is business insurance. It's now a commercial vehicle. It no longer goes on your personal auto policy. You now need a commercial auto insurance policy, and it's likely going to be higher. Many times when clients come to me with this, I say, call your carrier and ask them for a quote on what it would be to insure that vehicle in your business, just so you know what you're getting into when it comes to total costs, which really can affect your decision. The third whammy, the third con of having your business buy the vehicle is that it's now it's no longer a personal asset, it's now a business asset. So when we buy a personal vehicle and we no longer want it, we sell it. There's no even capital gains on it. We don't recognize any kind of taxable income on that sale. It's a personal vehicle and there's no tax implications. If you buy a vehicle and it's titled to the business and you sell it, it now is a business asset and subject to capital gains and loss calculations. And potentially, if you are really accelerating the depreciation on it in the early years and appreciating that vehicle and you sell it for a higher price, you're going to be subject to a capital gain. Yes, you're getting the tax benefits possibly now in the current year to accelerate and depreciate a vehicle for business use. But when you sell it, you're going to pay some of that back in capital gains. So that's definitely a big con that a lot of people don't realize. You can get business benefits and reimbursements, tax write-offs for your personally owned vehicle if you track your business mileage and business use. It just might look a little bit different and not be as great as if your business buys the asset, the vehicle. If your business buys the vehicle, the depreciation is the big whammy. That's what everybody's looking off for, the big write-off, but the cons are threefold. There could be financing complexities. If you don't have the cash on hand to buy it outright, your insurance is going to be higher because it will require commercial insurance for this new commercial business vehicle. And now you have an asset on the books, on the business books, that's subject to capital gains or losses when you sell it. So you decide, are you meeting the first 3 questions I mentioned in this video. And are the benefits worth the cost? There's definitely some pros and cons to consider in your decision on whether you buy a vehicle in your business name to get that tax write-off, or do you buy the car personally and get reimbursed for some of that business use of that vehicle? I've mentioned it a few times. I'm not going to skip over summarizing and closing out this video without mentioning again, documentation is your friend. So keep a mileage log, whether you're using a personal vehicle or a business vehicle, use some type of log, whether that is an app, and there's other apps. Again, I mentioned MileIQ, or you actually log your miles for your business use of your vehicle. I hope this video was informative and helpful in you in deciding whether you should purchase a vehicle in your business for that tax write. Gave you some things to think about. And if you liked it and want to see other videos like it, please ring the bell and follow my channel, and I will see you next time.